a woman wakes up from sleep. To her horror, she finds a handcuff suddenly attached to her wrist. Just as she's about to question her husband, Mark suddenly pulls out a gun. Emma is stunned by this bizarre scene. She tries to run, but the handcuff chaining them together holds her back. Terrified, Emma struggles desperately to break free, but it's all in vain. After the initial panic, Emma begins to calm down. She can't understand why her husband, who was perfectly fine yesterday, would suddenly do something like this. Emma quickly picks up the phone to call the police, but the signal has already been cut off. She then grabs the gun Mark used to attempt suicide. She points it at the handcuff and pulls the trigger, but the only bullet in the gun has already been fired. Helpless, Emma has no choice but to drag the heavy Mark with all her strength. She moves toward another room to look for tools, but once she gets there, she realizes the entire room is completely empty. Only a wedding dress is placed in the center. It's the dress she wore when she married Mark, and behind the dress, there's a hidden safe. Only then does Emma realize Mark had planned everything from the start. She struggles to drag the heavy corpse downstairs, looking out at the endless wilderness and the freezing weather. Over 10 degrees below zero, Emma lets out a hopeless laugh. At this point, she can only rely on herself. Then she remembers her phone is still in her bag, but when she searches for it, she finds the phone had already been thrown into a vase by Mark. When she takes it out, it's water damaged and no longer works. With no way to contact the outside world, Emma shifts her focus to the handcuff. So she starts looking for tools in the kitchen, but the cabinets have already been thoroughly emptied by Mark. At that moment, Emma unexpectedly finds the hidden car keys, so she wraps her feet with the wedding dress. Braving the freezing cold, she drags the heavy corpse toward the garage. Once inside the car, she quickly starts the engine with the key, and the first thing she does is turn on the heater, but just a moment later, the car suddenly stalls. When she opens the door, she realizes the gas tank has already been completely emptied. Suddenly, Mark's voice plays. It's a pre-recorded message from Mark. It turns out the reason Mark did all of this was because Emma had been seeing another man. Helpless, Emma once again drags the corpse back into the house. After washing the blood off her face, the necklace around her neck catches her attention. It was a gift from Mark just yesterday, but no matter how hard Emma pulls, she can't break it. That's when she remembers the toolbox in the basement. After a long and exhausting effort dragging the body, she finally makes it downstairs, gasping for breath. But the basement has also been completely cleared out by Mark. Staring at the stairs she just came down, Emma feels utterly hopeless. After returning to the first floor, Emma is drawn to another room. Yesterday, the photos in this room were sweet memories of her and Mark, but now, they've been replaced with images of her most terrifying experience. Back then, Emma was kidnapped by a psychopath. She endured painful torture. In the end, she managed to escape by stabbing the man in the eye with a car key. And the lawyer who handled the case at the time was none other than Mark. It was through that experience that the two of them met and came together. Suddenly, footsteps are heard outside the door. Moments later, a shadow approaches and begins knocking. Emma hurriedly drags Mark toward the entrance. She has no idea who might be outside. Just as the door is about to be pushed open, Emma quickly locks it, but the voice that comes from outside shocks her. It's her lover, Tom. Tom claims he received a distress message from Emma. That's why he rushed over. Emma quickly explains that the message was actually sent by Mark. When Tom sees Mark's corpse, he's terrified and completely shaken. Emma tells him that Mark had already found out about their affair, so he took his own life with a gun. But what she can't understand is why Mark would go out of his way to lure Tom here. Just then, they notice a car is approaching from a distance. Tom instantly feels something is off, because he saw that same car on his way here. It was parked by the roadside. As if waiting for something, Tom quickly tells Emma to hide inside the room, while he goes out alone to deal with it. The man claims he was hired by the homeowner to come and repair the plumbing. Tom offers him double the money to leave, but at that moment, another person steps out of the car. Emma sees the scene through the glass. Terrified, she quickly hides behind the wall. The next moment, the front door is kicked open. The man barges in without hesitation. Emma gets a clear look at his face. It's the same psychopath who once kidnapped her, but he was supposed to be in prison, put there by Mark himself. Then Sam orders his partner, Peter, to search the first floor, while he heads upstairs to investigate. Peter immediately gets to work, but when he looks behind the wall, he only finds a trail of blood. By then, Emma has already quietly dragged Mark out of the room. Desperately, she makes her way toward the cabin by the lake, but when she reaches the door, she discovers it's tightly locked. At this moment, Peter also follows the blood trail out of the room, but the long streaks in the snow give everything away. Unaware of this, Emma enters the cabin from the other side. On the boat, she finds a tool. Fighting her nausea, she slams it down onto Mark's arm with all her strength. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening echoes. Emma quickly pulls the canvas over herself and lies down inside the boat. Peter bursts through the door with force, but he doesn't see any of it. Hiding inside the boat, Emma doesn't dare move a muscle. Outside, Peter searches the place cautiously. Then he stumbles upon a corpse, so disfigured he can't recognize it. Frightened, he screams and bolts out of the cabin. At that moment, Emma, who had freed herself from Mark, is hiding under the boat. From their conversation, she learns it was Mark who had hired Sam, with the goal of killing both her and Tom. The payment was hidden in the safe on the second floor, which contained valuable diamonds. After they leave, Emma, now shivering from the cold, finally breathes a sigh of relief. She quickly rips off the wedding dress and wraps it around her feet to keep warm. Then, she finds a can of gasoline on the boat. On the other side, Peter, who was brought in by Sam to pick the lock, is stumped by the safe. The safe requires not only a password, but also a fingerprint to open, so the two split up to carry out their tasks. Sam goes to force the woman into revealing the password, while Peter heads off to move the body. Meanwhile, Emma is dragging the can of gasoline toward the garage. Then, footsteps can be heard approaching from behind. Emma quickly lies flat in the thick snow. Peter, heading to move the body, doesn't bother to look around. Only once he enters the lakeside cabin does Emma quietly rise and once again head toward the garage. At that moment, Sam, who is searching the area, suddenly hears noise coming from the garage. Unaware, Emma is desperately fueling the car, but she's interrupted by footsteps outside the door. She quickly crouches down and quietly hides behind the tire. Sam, arriving at the scene, notices the marks on the floor. He immediately crouches down to inspect them, just as Emma hides behind the tire. It blocks his line of sight. Sam then begins to carefully circle around the car, inspecting it. Seeing this, Emma quickly takes the chance to sneak out from under the car. Confused and frantic, Emma trips over the basement exit. Thinking quickly, she pulls open the door and hides inside, but through the gap, she sees that Sam has now focused his attention on this area. Emma quickly retreats from the exit and runs deeper inside, but as she climbs the stairs and rounds the corner, she once again sees someone outside the door. It's Peter, who happens to be dragging the body past that very spot. Emma quickly comes to a stop. At this point, she has nowhere to run. Sam is already on the stairs, slowly approaching with a knife in hand. Meanwhile, Peter, alerted by the footsteps, gradually reaches for the doorknob. In the nick of time, the sudden blare of the car alarm rings out. Both men rush toward the sound. Terrified, Emma breathes a sigh of relief. The sound was from her pressing the car key button. After Sam steps out of the garage, he immediately blocks the basement exit. He realizes the woman must be inside the room, so the two decide to enter the room one after the other, each carefully searching for her. Upon entering, they discover Tom's clothes have already been removed from the floor. At this moment, Emma has reached Tom's car. She locks the doors and quickly prepares to start the engine. Emma quickly dials the police. Seeing this, Peter is so startled that he tries to leave immediately, but Sam grabs him by the throat and warns Peter that they're in a very isolated place, giving them plenty of time to get the diamonds before the police arrive. When Emma wakes up again, she finds herself on the second floor, and once more, she's handcuffed to the dead Mark. The password is something only Emma knows, but no matter how much Sam threatens her, Emma refuses to speak. She knows that even if she tells him, she'll still die. Enraged, Sam immediately prepares to torture her. Terrified, Peter quickly rushes over to stop Sam, but is shoved aside. As he falls to the ground, he spots a gun under the bed. He immediately grabs it and points it at Sam, who's about to strike. Neither of them knows that the gun has no bullets. Reluctantly, Sam complies and steps over to the opposite side. Time is running out, and the police could arrive at any moment. Desperate, Peter manages to convince both of them to unlock Emma's handcuffs, and then she'll reveal the password. Once Sam gets the diamonds, he'll let Emma go. However, when the safe is opened, inside, there's only a sharp small saw. On it, there's an inscription, asterisk the diamonds are in the woman's heart. Emma immediately realizes it's the unbreakable necklace around her neck. Peter quickly steps forward to help, but no matter how hard he tries, he can't take it off. Peter pulls out a large pair of pliers from his bag, but still, he can't cut through the necklace. It's simply indestructible. The only option left is to cut through Emma's neck. Sam collapses in pain. And the ice beneath him shatters from the impact. His body plunges first into the lake. In this desperate moment, Emma desperately pulls out a dagger. She uses it to cut through the ice, summoning the last ounce of strength in her body to climb onto the surface. Finally, Emma survives. The sound of urgent sirens fills the air,